And see, I think that's the deal. It's like some of us move in the world, but we've got a little blind spot about like what the influence we're having is, what the impact we're having. Are we leaving good things in our wake, or are we, leaving a dark cloud in our wake, and we really want to be aware of that. And I will tell you, when I've coached people one-on-one, I've asked them that. This is truly the number one response. Oh, I never really thought about that before.
I know. Isn't that scary?
And it's like, well, you have, 120 people or 5,020 people following you. You better think about, what it's like to experience you, because you're setting the tone, because we all know this very old adage, you have to lead by example.
Welcome back to the Bombshell Business Podcast. I'm your host, Amber Hurdle. And today we're just going to be talking about something that you all know is near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk to an expert who helps individuals lead a more vibrant life, both personally and professionally. We'll talk about how that is woven in, as an individual, as well as in the culture of your business. So you're going to hear lots of snorting from me and nerding out. And I can tell you this because before I hit record, we've already had a whole conversation. We know about each other's families. We know where each other lives. We know everything there is to know about Florida. So I'm just excited to have this conversation like in front of y'all, because I've already had a great conversation behind the scenes. So let me tell you about our guest. As a principal coach and CEO of Vibrant Culture, Nicole Greer helps individuals, corporations, government, faith-based organizations, and nonprofits become the people they were created to be through fulfilling a mission to work in teams and exemplify vibrant leadership. Using transformational change leadership coaching and training programs, Nicole offers foundational tools and uncommon wisdom to build a vibrant culture. Nicole is a serious entrepreneur with experience in coaching, marketing, mastering first impressions, learning and development, and sales. Nicole is a speaker, trainer, facilitator, executive coach, and business coach. And like me, sleep is not her highest priority. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
That's right. That's right. And I'm not even tired. I'm ready to go.
People are like, you need to slow down. I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't have as much energy as me. Like, we're just different.
That's right. That's right. That makes us a bombshell. It's got a lot of energy, a bombshell.
And isn't that what being vibrant is all about? Is
100%
flowing in the midst of all of it. So let's actually start there. So you have a method. So it's not like, oh, you should be vibrant. Like, you have a method that you use. So can you just start unpacking what that is and how does that impact you personally and professionally?
Yeah, 100%. So I got my coaching little certificate in the way back in 2007, and I went through a coaching program. It was life-changing. So the first thing I would say to all of you listening is go take a little coaching course. It will make you grow up. It will make you wake up, and it will change your life. You'll learn to be a wonderful listener, which is the secret to becoming a trusted advisor and getting people to slow down and respect you. If you're a great listener, people will respect you. And it will help you to ask powerful questions. And the only way we're going to navigate this crazy world and move things forward and innovate is if we are very curious and ask a lot of questions. So I gained these two skills and it changed my life. But as I developed my business and, you start coaching, you start working with people, you start to pick up on patterns. And so I picked up on patterns about people, and I thought, okay, Nicole, your little company is called Vibrant, right? So I sat down like any good marketer, any good brander like you are, Amber, and I said, okay, I'm going to take the word shine, because if you're vibrant, you shine. You light up the room when you walk in, right? So I'm going to figure out a way to put my methodology into this word shine. So it's SHINE, and the S stands for self-assessment. So what I think is so important in the world, especially for leaders, is to turn the mirror inward and say, what's up with me? And you write this question down. You can steal it shamelessly from me. I picked up this question along my journey, and it was this: what is it like to experience you? What do you think? What do you think about that, Amber?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. If I was asking people,
right. Right. And see, I think that's the deal. It's like some of us move in the world, but we've got a little blind spot about like what the influence we're having is, what the impact we're having. Are we leaving good things in our wake, or are we, leaving a dark cloud in our wake, and we really want to be aware of that. And I will tell you, when I've coached people one-on-one, I've asked them that. This is truly the number one response. Oh, I never really thought about that before.
I know. Isn't that scary?
And it's like, well, you have, 120 people or 5,020 people following you. You better think about, what it's like to experience you, because you're setting the tone, because we all know this very old adage, you have to lead by example.
Yeah.
So you better figure out what it's like to experience you. So self-assessment is huge. And so there's, of course, so many things you can do to self-assess. You can take assessments in general. You can take a DISC or a PEP or a TILT or a Myers-Briggs or any of these things, and to kind of take a look at what's it like to experience you. And of course, you could do 360 feedback, a bazillion things, so that you could figure that out. So really, it's so important, and not to do it once, but to, on the daily, ask yourself, what's it going to be like to experience me today? A little reminder of how to show up. The second thing, the H, is habit work. I don't have to go into a deep, conversation on habits. We've all probably heard of Stephen Covey and his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and maybe watched a Tony Robbins video before. Habit work is essential to living your most vibrant life, because here's the truth. Your behaviors that you do on the daily are either building a vibrant life or they're killing the light. It's one or the other.
And there is no middle. There is no gray area. There is no like meh. It's moving you towards who you want to become or moving you away from it. It's lighting a spark or it's putting the spark out.
100%. Right. So you get up in the morning and, you have your smoothie and it's got spinach in it, and you're, put your magnesium, you got all your stuff in it. You're like feeling great. Awesome habit.
We are twins, aren't we?
Right. Or you get up in the morning and you're like, I think I'll have a donut. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have a donut every once in a blue moon, but like on the daily, it's going to kill you. So you got to look at your habits, and it's everything from start to finish. And at the end, I'm going to talk about E, and then we'll circle back to habits for a second. But the next thing is integrity. And integrity is a confusing thing, because people think they have it. And dare I say this, integrity is not a constant. And everybody thinks that I'm a man or a woman of integrity. Oh, well, not all the time. Mm-hmm. And having that awareness that integrity can come and go. And what I mean by that is that there are days where I am managing what it's like to experience me. And then there are other days I lose it. I don't manage what it's like to experience me. And we have to have that call to integrity. So I have a tool I work with called the TILT. And it talks about 48 commendable character traits. Now, I don't know anybody on the planet that's got all 48 of these nailed. But again, back to self-awareness, it's that thing of like, what if I worked on this character trait, how would my life change? So for example, one of them just might be being disciplined. One might be being kind. I mean, have you ever worked with mean people? Everybody say yes. So it's working on these 48 commendable traits. And so everybody has room to improve in the quality of their character and their integrity.
And can I just add to that? Like, because, people put us on pedestals, like we're gurus and we know all the things. We never break, we never have problems. Between the habit work and the integrity, I have found, just with all the change in my life and everything, that I have not been as on top of truly managing myself, who is neurodivergent. And so my ADD is rearing its ugly head. And so it's a superpower. I would never trade it. I want it.
Right.
If you try to take it away from me, I would fight you. But it has the negative side too, as most things do. And I finally, between that, so self-assess, okay, my habits aren't like they've been very solid. And so to be in integrity with myself, because I'll take care of everybody else. Everybody else will have what they need, but not myself. And so that's when I was like, okay, this person I've been following forever on Instagram is opening up membership to her ADHD membership. That's like $40 a month. There's an answer. Let's just start there. Let's see what I can get done. And then you loop back to the self-assessment. So like, I'm just, as you're saying this, I'm going like, yeah, this is what we need to be doing. Looks,
100%.
and
Yeah.
we're the gurus.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I don't know if you, I bet you this has happened to you. I mean, I teach what I need.
For sure.
The reason I do this work is because I'm trying to remind myself, behave yourself, you know, be a contributing person to the world, don't be the problem in the world. I want to be part of the solution, not the problem. Yeah. So I think it's really important. Yeah. And integrity, again, it's what you're doing when nobody's looking. And we've all had little moments where we're hiding out in the corner doing what we're not supposed to do. And so just raising that awareness again. All right. So then the next thing we need to do with our lives is we have to have some next right steps laid out. Now, I call them next right steps instead of goals because goals are humongous and daunting and intimidating. I love them. But oftentimes when I coach people and they dream up some big, giant, huge vision, it sounds really great in the coaching session. You've got that coach there giving you that love and saying you can do it and feeling all the good juju. But then you get off the Zoom with your coach and you're like, oh my God, this is huge.
Now I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And all your gremlins come in and sit on your shoulder and tell you how you're not qualified. That'll never happen. You don't have enough money. Who do you think you are? And all the self-talk starts and whatever. So when I coach people, we have a vision, but really what I try to help them do is manage the next right step. Like, what's the one thing you need to do like this week?
Right.
That moves you closer. For example, I have tons of people are like, should I go back to school? Well, that's a huge question. I don't know. But what could you do this week to get closer to the answer?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Google up some schools. That's all we're going to do. When you come back, bring back the information and I'll ask you powerful questions about these schools and about what you want to do. Let's just take it one next right step at a time because things will open up. The door will open, the light will come in, we'll get an answer, but you don't have to have the answer today. It's the journey, right? That we got to do. So
and let's enjoy that journey.
100%.
What a letdown once you get to the end and you're like, oh, now it's done. And I just missed all the happiness because I was too worried about getting here. Now I'm here. And it's like, man.
Right. Exactly. And if you celebrate the little steps along the way, what begins to happen, and we all know this to be true, once you have a little success, it's like taking the best pill ever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, another next right step and another next right step. I have a coach. Every coach should have a coach or they're a big fat. Yeah. Right. Oh, yes. Exactly. Yeah. I have a spiritual director. I have a coach. I have a mentor. I got lots of stuff. Yeah, I agree. So, because I need a lot of help. But my coach, it's part of the strategic coach, which I don't know if anybody's ever heard of them, but they're amazing. And so my coach, Dan Sullivan, he says, when you set a big fat goal like that, you oftentimes will fall in the gap. And I just like how he says that, because here's the goal. It's 2 years away. You're going to fall in that big giant 2-year gap. You need just, what's the next thing? So next right steps. Then finally, energy. And we were talking about how much energy we had at the top of this. And so I think sometimes people, they talk about one energy, but I have noticed there are 6 energies in human beings. So I'll just share like I would, like if I was teaching a kindergartner, so I'm going to touch my head. We have intellectual energy. Okay. So intellectual energy is like, what do I need to know? We all know that knowledge is power. And oftentimes when I'm coaching people, I'll ask them questions about what they're trying to achieve. And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you got to go find out. Yeah. You got to go learn. You got to figure that out. I want to get this job, Nicole. Okay. What are the skills required for that job? Da, 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 da. Do you have all these skills? No. Okay. Well, you got to go learn that skill. We got to get on with it. So there's things you need to learn. So you got to up your intellectual energy. Have you ever been in a meeting and they're asking questions? You're like, I know the answer. I know the answer. That is a very energized, powerful position to be in.
Yeah.
You got to be learning.
Yeah.
So important. The next energy, I'll touch my heart, and that is emotional energy. And so we all know about emotional intelligence. And one of the things about emotional intelligence that's often overlooked is really, if I was going to boil emotional intelligence down to one thing, is the ability to love people where they are.
So good.
Stop judging everybody. A good example is, unfortunately, I'm asked sometimes to come talk about the generations. And so I say yes. But when I go talk about the generations, you know what I say? I say, there's all these generations. It's a marketing thing. Boomers, blah, 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 blah. Gen Z, whatever. I talk about all that. I give them all the stats. And then what I say is, here's what we need to do. We just need to love the person in front of us. If you can help a guy out, you can help a gal out. Do that. Their age is irrelevant. What do you know that you can share? And, people will tell me, Nicole, that was so right. Because when I, like a person my age, 56, will be like, when I have computer problems, I call my teenage granddaughter.
Yeah.
She helps me. And then when she's having problems with a boy, she calls me, or whatever. So, nothing's changed since Adam and Eve. All the generations need each other. We do get irritated because the younger ones are not grown up. The old ones might be a little curmudgeonly, but we need each other. We need to live into each other's lives. So I really try to talk about teamwork at the end of that, and about just loving the person in front of you and helping them, right? So that's emotional energy. Then there's spiritual energy. I'm not talking about religion here, but what I'm talking about is like esprit de corps, like leaders and folks who want to make things happen have to learn to motivate others. They have to be able to inspire, to inspirit other people, tell them the good news of what could happen if we all work together. The fourth energy is physical energy, and physical energy is no joke. I am 56. I have to worry about my physical energy. So I have got to put, whole grains, and I got to eat, spinach. I got to drink a glass of red wine. Notice that I added that in. I got to do yoga.
I have to.
I got to do my yoga. Because here's what I know. I can't get up and work hard if I feel bad in my body. That's just a fact, right? Then two more energies, social energy. So it's it is who you know. You know that old thing? It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's actually both. But it's a lot of who you know. Mm-hmm. You have to surround yourself with great people who have all this energy, because it'll leak off on you and get you energized. So social energy, you gotta please get on the LinkedIn and do the LinkedIn. Please send people thank you notes and Christmas cards and Hanukkah cards and whatever cards. And then the final energy is money. And I can't tell you how many people come to coaching and they're like, how much is it?
Right.
And I'm like, how much you got? What's their story? And then they want to charge whatever on their credit card to get coached. And I'm like, nope, we're not doing that.
I won't do it either.
No. And I'm like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you YouTube channels to watch. And you're going to call Dave Ramsey and get his box or whoever, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, whatever book we're going to read. You got to get your money together. Because here's what I know. In terms of energy, money is energy. Nicole Greer goes out in the world. She trains, she coaches, she recruits. People give her money. It's an energy exchange. Then what I do is I take my money and I go buy a nice pair of earrings. I go send my child to college, whatever I'm going to do with my money. And you've got to get a healthy mindset around money, because then you can make your dreams come true. Because you can't go to college, change your career, build a business, do any things we want to do unless you've got your money squared away. And last thing I'll say about that is, even if you're in debt right now and you're listening to this, I'm a huge advocate for finding a financial advisor. There are financial advisors. If you don't have two pennies to rub together, will still talk to you. If you're gainfully employed and you're getting a paycheck, they can come into your world. I don't know did anybody teach you about money growing up?
No, I'm a 3-time graduate of Financial Peace University.
Oh, okay. So she did the Dave Ramsey thing, everybody.
I did. And let me just say, I am not the biggest fan of Dave Ramsey, how he shows up in the world. I'm just going to say that. I used to go to church with him. I literally sat right behind him at church. I've watched the evolution. And I don't have anything against him either. I just don't love kind of how he talks to people sometimes. So, but that said, his baby steps work. And I got myself out of debt. I got my ex-husband out of debt, or not. I helped him recover from a very, very bad situation using the same steps. And, now I've got I think the last time my credit score got sent to me last week, it's all the time it sends it to me. I'm 10 points from the highest you could possibly get. And my credit score as a broke young single mom was like 435.
Right.
So, I mean, like, I'm just saying, you don't have to theoretically love everything about everyone. You don't have, like, just pick a plan, pick a path that has steps that you can follow repeatedly over time. And then habits, exactly. And what is it you said? What's your next step? Like, just worry about that. And then you can be good too. But like, to your point, get the help.
100%. 100%. And, there's a gal that I met at a Toastmasters meeting. Okay. So 8 years ago, her name's Missy. And she's one of these Edward Jones gals. You know how y'all go to the strip mall and you go to the grocery store and there's an Edward Jones, there's an Ameriprise. Those are the people.
And coach. I know Edward Jones. I love them. They're such a great company.
Yeah. So Missy is at the Toastmasters thing. So I am sitting there. She's very casual about the whole thing. She says, who's helping you plan for your future or whatever? And my husband had some guy we were working with, but I never met the guy. I never met a human. And so she's like, would you like to meet and talk about money? And I said, I would love to. And so I met with her and she's like, give me $50 a week. I said, okay. And that was 8 years ago. And so she, and I'd give her more money than that now, because of course I'm making more money than I made 8 years ago. So she's just like, get in the habit. I have an automatic deduction, comes right out of my bank account because I'm an entrepreneur. I don't get a paycheck. I get paid by all my clients. And so it comes right out of my paycheck. She sends me this thing. This is how much money we're making. And I'm like, hot dang. And so when I get old, I will not be a burden to my children, which gives me energy.
Yes.
I'm like, my life is so good. I'm taking care of my future, right? Yeah. So, and you might think it's going to be a whole bunch of money. You could give somebody like Missy at Edward Jones, you can give them $10 a week. You're not going to miss it.
Right.
Until you can do 20, 50, 75, 100, 1,000, whatever it is a week, you can give them. And they do that. And that's kind of the concept too. Like, we can't be good at everything. So find humans that can come around you. And that's another part of integrity is, the 5 people you hang out with, right? So you need a financial advisor, you need the coach, you need the spiritual director, the mentor, whoever you can find that'll listen. That's what you need, because it's going to help me.
With my friends, it's often me.
Right. Let's call Amber. Let's get her on the hotline here.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. But if people will kind of work in that methodology, it's important. And I said I would come back up to habits for a moment, because really it's the linchpin. When you look at the energies, and I have a document called the Vibrant Energy Audit. If you want it, I'll get it to you. But it has 10 habits for each of the energies. And you don't have to do them all. Like, people look at it, they're like, Nicole, this is so overwhelming. Hold on. I'm not telling you.
It's a buffet.
Right. What would you like?
Whatever you want on your plate to get through. You can always come back, get a new plate, but come back.
That's right. And it will be the healthiest buffet you've ever been at. So I think it's so important to get your energy up. I mean, like, I want to hear something fun. I just got back from Africa. My husband and my son and my daughter went on this bucket list safari thing, and I went along for the ride. And I had a little cold when I got back. And, I don't get colds very often, but I was on a plane for 17 hours with people who were coughing.
I've done that flight.
Oh, it's just crazy. So I got back, and like, just the difference in my energy between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday when I was trying to kick it, and like today, like, we all know what it's like to have your energy back. And like, you don't know that you're feeling better till you're feeling better.
That's right.
So you gotta stoke the energies. It's essential. And then you can do all the things you think I want to do this in my business. I want to do this in my life. I want to go on these trips. I want to save for this. I want to do that. You'll have the energy to get those means in place.
Yeah. I can only imagine how this plays out. I know we're kind of getting closer to time, but there's one thing that I believe wholeheartedly, and that's like, you can't lead others, and you sure as heck can't lead a culture until you can lead yourself. And what you just laid out with your shine method is, I mean, like I would say very similar to our methodology here. You approach it a different way, you call it different things, but I love that self-assessment is first, that we both are like, you have to be self-aware. Like none of this other stuff even matters until you're self-aware. And then everything else here is like, this is how you lead yourself. And when you can lead yourself effectively, then you can start, then you even have the energy to lead other people. Like where do you pull from if you're not taking care of you? And and that's even just when I said like I wasn't in integrity with myself, so I needed to do something to like, with ADD, ADHD, it's really hard to exist in a world that doesn't understand what that means. And so surrounding yourself, energy, so your social energy, like surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs who have ADHD, who have to, it's like the work gets done. We're crazy creative. Like it's, you surround yourself with a team on your team so that like the details get handled. Like I know how to hire to complement me, but then it's like, the house, exercise, like the things that like are so integral of my personal environments were slipping. And it's like, well, how am I going to lead anybody else, let alone all the people who count on my two companies, if I'm not taking care of me? So I just love that you've put so much thought into this with very clear, I mean, like 10 habits for each of those. Yeah.
Sign me up. Yeah. And, and here's the thing. I just want you to think back in your career or the trajectory of your life. There's very few in my life. And I mean, and this is my experience with coaching and talking to other humans on the planet, is there's very few people I can point to in my life that I'm like, they are really living life well. Mm-hmm. And my person is this woman named Anne Starrett. She is like a 74-year-old bag of fire, man. And she's my mentor. And I hang out with her. And she's the one that, said, you got to start a little company. This is a long time ago. And I said, no, I'm going to get a job. She's like, you're not getting a job, and she had been entrepreneurial in her life. And she kind of led me to that. But she gets up every morning. She's running a retreat center in Statesville, North Carolina, that she's on a mission. She taught me to write a mission statement for my life. I'll share with you what she shared with me if you email me. And she's on a mission to create a sacred place to tend your soul. Okay. So you go up to her place. It's this 55-acre farm, and you can receive spiritual direction. You can go to a retreat. You can hold your own retreat for your company, whatever. And she's like, I'm never going to quit working because I'm not working. I'm on a mission. So she just lives in that space. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to be like when I'm 74 years old. And it's rare we find that human. And so we need to be that human for somebody. There's not many of us out there. Yeah. So I'm doing that for another little gal named Natalie.
And that's the only way you can do it, because you can't pay her back. She's already got it all. She doesn't need you. She gave it to you. So your only choice.
I'm a heavy lifting for her.
What's that?
I said, I'm heavy lifting for her. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, she's still pulling me along. She's like, come on, Nicole. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. And so we have to pay it forward. It's the only way to honor the investment that was made in us. It's the only way. So, 100%. And I think also too, I mean, like the work that we do is inherently mentor-like, but it's different when somebody's paying you. And then when you see somebody and you're like, oh, I see in you what I've already gone through. And I'm pretty sure that I can help be a Sherpa through this part of your journey. Maybe it's not for forever, but through this part of your journey, I feel like what has been invested in me, I can pour back into you, and you might like maybe speed this whole thing up or do it with a lot less collateral damage. And especially as women, I mean, that's what the bombshell community is all about. It's, I say this often on the show, like we don't have a Facebook group, we don't have like a Slack channel or anything like that, because we're all too busy. Like that's not, we've got a lot going on, multiple businesses, or at least, one business, or, a leadership role. You've got your kids, you have relationships, you've got your family, like, aging parents, whatever that is. Like the last thing we need to do is be on Facebook more. That's just not it. But what we can do as bombshells is take the essence of what it means to continuously be on a mission to become a bold, brave, unwaveringly confident woman in business. And if we can do that, which if you're confident, that means you like yourself. If you're confident, that means that you're not picking apart other people because you don't have that need, because you don't have a need to fill darkness inside of you. If you're confident, then you're going to make good decisions. You're going to take some risks that you probably need to take. And you're going to be grateful for your life because you're confident that you can always get more, that you come from a sense of abundance. And so if you can be that person and shine that, and then when you see another bombshell, connect with, tell her you're not too much. Tell her that you're just perfect the way that you are. When you see a younger bombshell and she needs mentoring, to pour into her, what does it mean to be a bombshell? That's what our community is about. It is holistic, and it's on y'all to go do it in your lives, in your world. I am not the bombshell. We are bombshells together.
That's right. And the thing I love about bombshell is like, it makes an impact. Right. So, the stereotype of a bombshell is she's sexy, she's hot, she's whatever. I mean,
voluptuous woman. Yeah.
Right. And I'm all about that too. But also one that goes out in the world proud of her, the way she moves in the world, the way she shows up, what it's like to experience her. But underneath all that, there is a big intent to leave the world better than she found it.
That's right.
To make that impact, right? Like a little crater, what did Steve Jobs say? I'm here to make a dent in the universe. That's the thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hancock with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love that movie, first of all. But when he lands, it's not like a crater. It's like the whole road just implodes. That's kind of what I want to do. So I think I've got a few more years left on this planet. We'll see how it goes. But
100%.
So before we get into all the different ways people can connect with you, and I mean, at this point, if you need some coaching in your life, I vote Nicole, because she's fun. She's got a process. She's going to hold you accountable, and she's not going to overwhelm you. So I think that would be a wise decision. But before we go there, I want to ask the same question I ask every guest at the end. And that is, what is the parting piece of advice you would give to a bombshell, knowing what the definition of a bombshell is to us?
Okay. So when you told me we were going to do that, immediately, the first thing that popped in my mind was, I want to recommend a book. So I want to recommend a book called Return to Love. What I said earlier about what we really need to do in this life is just love on people, right? I mean, that's what the female, I think, in the whole scheme of things, we're put here to nurture and love. So Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And I think she is a total bombshell. Okay. So she wrote that book, and out of that book, when Nelson Mandela was elected to president of South Africa, and I just got back from South Africa last week, so I've got this whole, I don't know, it's what's going on in Nicole Greer's mind right now. The excerpt I'm going to read to you is from her book, but it was read when Nelson Mandela, after being in jail for many, many years, was elected president of South Africa. And this is my favorite thing ever. All right, it says here, this is for all you bombshells, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is not our light, it is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Playing small doesn't serve
the world.
She's right there with me. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure about you. We are born to manifest the glory of God within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own life shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Drop the mic, Marianne Williams.
So I had in 2 houses.
Did you have it on the wall?
Big decal. And so I moved and I ordered another one on Etsy. And it's like the first thing you see when you walk in my house, that whole passage you just read. And the girl was like, did something go wrong with the last one? I was like, no, I just moved and I need it again. Like, it has to be on my wall. And it's just not at this house yet because I just moved in. But it is no surprise to me that that's what you shared as your parting piece of advice, and that
Yeah.
also is such an important passage to me. And here's why. You know, as speakers and, personalities or whatever, we do get our skirts fluffed a lot. I mean, like, I literally get clapped for as part of my living. And, and I don't need that. That's not what I'm here to do. But when people see that, or they see us putting ourselves out there, or they see us being successful, the people who aren't returning to love, it's like a takeaway from them that we're shining, just as, Marianne says, or Nelson Mandela said in his passage. And so, like, even those of us who are super bold, who know what we want, who, I've got more confidence than the average Joe, and I was just born that way. I wish I could.
Then an NFL football team.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. It's just like, well, I've done this before, so I can figure it out, whatever. But, even those of us who are very confident can get taken down by the people who don't want to see us shine, and who are being like, well, who does she think she is? Or like, well, she's just trying to get attention. It's like, yeah, I am trying to get attention so that people will change their lives and live a vibrant, joyful life so they can feel like a bombshell. Like, so I have that on my wall, not only to remind me every single day when I look at it, but every single person who walks in my house stops and looks at that so that they're reminded what their job is on this planet. So I love that you shared that.
Oh, that's so fantastic. So, yeah, we're having all sorts of like little, mind meld stuff happening, which I love. I mean, like, and here's the thing. The people you meet today, it's not a mistake.
No.
Don't be irritated. Why is this human in front of you? It's an opportunity. It's a God wink. It's a little sparkle in your moment. It's
That's right.
Get the fire lit, people.
That's right. And if somebody is irritating you, then you need to ask yourself why. Like, what is it inside of you that is stirring up? We need to have like a podcast together. Let's just start a new one, because you and I could talk for forever. But this is my favorite part of podcasting. I get to meet the coolest people.
I agree. Me too. I'm so just enamored with this whole thing. I'm loving talking to you.
Yeah. So if you want to join my friend, Nicole, you can go find her at vibrantcoaching.com. So that's the first place to go. You can email her at nicole@vibrantcoaching.com, and she spells it just like typical Nicole. I know there's lots of cute ways to spell names today, but in our world, when we were raised, we didn't have all those cute ways. So you can call her at 877-633-2239. Shout out for people who still answer the phone too.
Oh, I do too.
Right? I mean, sometimes you just need to have a phone call. And then you can find her on LinkedIn, Build a Vibrant Culture, Nicole Greer. I don't know if you can see my friends are not on LinkedIn, but you can find her through me. And then Facebook is Vibrant Coaching. Instagram is Nicole Greer Vibrant Coaching. And then we'll put the link to all of that, as well as the link to where you could get Return to Love on Amazon, because I'm just right there with you. And Marianne Williamson for president too, by the way, she's running. So
is she running again?
Because she just announced. Yeah.
No way. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Yeah. And my husband's always like, who'd you vote for? And I'm like, you won't be happy.
Don't ask.
But the reason is like, he's like, well, she's not going to win. I'm like, well, you never know.
Yeah. Well, give me better options than what we got right now, and then I might consider them. But for right now, I know I aligned with her. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. But I found even too, though, like in the last time that she ran and she was on the stage as an official candidate, the light that she brought to such a dark experience where everybody was just jabbing each other and tearing each other down and saying nasty things, and she was up there speaking light into the situation, and I was just like, if this is all we get, I'm happy.
That's right. And I do, and see, that's the thing about this newer generation coming up too. Like they're ready for some light.
Yeah.
Oh, they've had their parents talking about the last 20 years of presidents, and we're tired of hearing that at the dinner table.
Yep, me too.
Right. We want a new conversation.
A whole new way of being, a whole new way.
Yeah.
And I do think, post-pandemic, that there is an appetite for that new way of being.
I do too. I think so.
We shifted some significantly as a society through that experience. So, well, before we wrap up and I chatted up with our listener, Is there anything else that you would like to add before we part ways?
No, I just think that what we've talked about today is so essential. And I'll just end it with, if I can help you shine, let me know. Go out, read the Return to Love. You can thank Amber later. I've just been delighted to be here. And if I can help anybody, I would love to.
Yeah, I love that. So you have all the ways. And then, of course, if you want to get all of this in the show notes, if you're driving on the treadmill, putting your kid to bed, cooking dinner, whatever that is that you're doing, go to amberhurdle.com/podcasts with an S, podcasts, plural, and you'll get all of the show notes and the links to everything that we talked about. And then, of course, every single week, I'm asking you to share this episode with somebody that you think it can bless, somebody who might have recently just said, I'm so overwhelmed, or I'm so low energy, or I just, I'm not sleeping, or, whatever that is. Give them the gift of this Vibrant formula. Show them how they can make small changes. And maybe you or somebody wants to work with Nicole. And I think that would be a really wise investment. Like, I would not be who I am without my team of advisors and coaches and therapists and spiritual leaders. And just like you were talking about. And I know that's not for everybody, but you could just start with one coach. Right. So I'm endorsing Nicole, and I hope you'll consider that. And then, if all it is a share, that's great. And the other way that you can contribute to the Bombshell community is simply by leaving an honest rating and review. If this show does anything for you, hop over to wherever you listen this, find where you can leave a review. And then what that does is it just kind of morphs the algorithm into showing it to more people, and then we can reach more bombshells. Because like I said, we don't have time for no Facebook group, but we can do small little things like that to put it in front of other bombshells who are like us. We're big, bold personalities. We're a lot. We're told we're a lot. We're told that we're too much. And we need each other to remind ourselves, no, this is our design. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are made in God's image. And we have so much to offer on this planet. So don't dull your light. And we can do that by just sharing this together. So thank you for your precious time. I know you don't have a ton of it. And they took it with us, Nicole. They chose to hang out with us for this time. So
yeah, we're grateful. We're grateful.
Absolutely. So we're grateful for you. And I will see you on the next episode.